I wanted to thank you for taking time to speak with me today.
Oh, well, thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
I wanted to talk to you about the new album because the new album to me has a different nuance for you, and the songs seem more on a personal level. Were they more on a personal level for you?
I don't know about that. I mean, they've all been personal. It's kind of the purpose of these albums, these Joel Hoekstra's 13 albums, is the personalized experience because they're more or less musically fashioned to sound like a band.
Hmm.
So the hitch being I write not just the guitar riffs in it, but the lyrics and the vocal melodies. So having a personalized experience is kind of what it's about. Um, if I were to turn it into a shred album, it wouldn't hold as much interest for me. So I'm kind of into making songs and making it like a band. However, have it being the person who gets to have the most say so in it, I guess, when I do these. Um, you know, I'm a part of a lot of other projects or bands where I will play a partial role in the writing. So it's kind of nice to have one where I do it all.
And Will You Remember Me is a song that really stands out for me. I wanted to ask if you could speak on that track.
Um, yeah, I mean, that was some of the stuff came a little bit later. The melodic, lighter sounding stuff came a little later. All this early stuff that was coming out in the writing process, the really heavy stuff. And I at the end there, I was like, all right, it's going to need some more melodic stuff to have some consistency with the past records. So it's not just something totally different. So yeah, that was one of those that was added on there, and yeah, I mean, I guess that's probably a common feeling that a lot of musicians have is like, have what we done like in our lifetime mattered to people or not? That's kind of obvious. I mean, you read the lyrics,
Yeah.
take it at face value.
And Lifetime is another track I wanted you to discuss as another track that I truly enjoyed.
Oh, thanks a lot. So you gravitated towards the more melodic sounding
Yeah.
stuff on the record. It's funny. It seems to be like an either or thing in the reviews. It's like some people look at the those songs, Lifeline and Will You Remember Me, as like
Mhm.
why did he do those? And
Yeah.
then other people are like, that's the stuff that's their favorite. So that's exactly why I try to include some of that. That's the way it's really been from the first one. I mean, now this is the fourth record under this moniker, under Joel Hoekstra's 13. And I guess for clarity, there were three albums out before I started doing this under just Joel Hoekstra that were
Right.
instrumental albums. So kind of like you'd expect, I guess, from a guitar player, I was kind of in a fusion mode at that point in time, rock fusion, and then one was a fingerstyle acoustic album. So when it came time to start making solo music that was a little bit more along the lines of what I was becoming well known for, this melodic hard rock, I decided to give it a project name rather than just Joel Hoekstra. Um, as I stated earlier, I didn't have a lot of interest in just making it like a shred fest. I was looking to do something that was more about the songs and something that average rock fans could actually enjoy and gravitate towards.
Mhm.
And for me, that was perfect because that's what got me into this style of music and playing guitar in the first place. So that's a lot of what this is about, this Joel Hoekstra's 13 project. And those that don't know, I basically just enlisted my favorite classic rock people. I have Vinny Appice on drums on all four records, Tony Franklin on bass on all four, Derek Shreening on keys on all four. Jeff Scott Soto has done the backing vocals, believe it or not, on all four for me. I like to say that he's the most overqualified backing vocalist in the history of rock.
That's
But
a
you know, Jeff and I are good friends, and when somebody like that offers to do that for you on your records, it's like you don't say no to that. You have to be
right.
dumb. So he definitely elevates the quality of the records. Despite being backing vocalist on it, it does make a really big difference, in my opinion, to have him on there. And the lead vocals, I'll kind of simplify it for you. Essentially, Russell Allen, the first two records, Dying to Live and Running Games, and now Girish Pradhan, these later two, Crash of Life, and now From the Fade, which we're talking about today.
And from the production aspect, were there any changes this time around?
No, I basically go with Chris Collier as my engineer. He really is another band member to this in a lot of ways. He not only delivers sonically, but he's always open to my creative ideas and nitpicking, which probably drives him completely crazy every time in terms of what I have in mind. I really love that part of the process when the guitars are done, everything's down, but it's like, what can we do with this?
Right.
I think for me, that's a lot of fun. That's when I have almost the most fun when the guitar is out of my hands and I can listen to the big picture.
And the last two times we talked, I've kicked myself in the ass for not asking. What is the mean of 13?
Just a lucky number. Not really too much to it. I mean, I wanted to include my name as it's my project, so I wanted something short. If you included another name after that, then the name gets really, really long. If it's a 2 word or 3 word thing, so Joel Hoekstra's 13 sounded good to me, just as like a slight difference between the Joel Hoekstra albums and Joel Hoekstra's 13. So it's only awkward in that when I write about it or post about it, it's like I need to refer to myself in the third person. But that's the name of the project, and honestly, I think it's probably paid off for me in a lot of ways because every time it's mentioned, it does include my name and it sort of does advance me as a solo artist, so to speak, but it also makes a statement that it's a project. It's not necessarily like a solo album, a traditional solo album where they would be all about the guitar playing.
And this is a very different album cover for you. I wanted to ask if you could speak on the concept of it and who's responsible for it.
Yeah, Christiane Gilbrook does the graphic art. The last 3 records, she's done the graphic design for me. We were going a different route at first. It was kind of like the pyramid theme from the Dying to Live thing kind of going off, and then a figure like out in the distance, and it just wasn't doing it for me. And some of it, this record is really dark, so I just took a picture of my hand on this table right here and with my iPhone and filtered it, made it really dark, like it was grasping, and it was like something like this. And actually, that picture made the insert, but I think that's what gave the idea of the hand to her. And then she came up with the idea of the background having the script of, if you look closely at what's on there, it's not just lines from this album, but the previous 3 as well. So the script in the background kind of has that on it. So that I got to tip my cap to her. That was her idea. I think it's a cool cover. Mainly came from her. Honestly, the only thing that came from me was the idea of it needs. This just isn't. It's not really conveying what I want with the path we were going. If I showed it to you, you'd be like, "Oh my gosh, it's completely different." And out of nowhere, when we came onto this one, it was like, "Yeah, now we're talking. That looks great." So a couple tweaks and we were done. Funny how that happens sometimes. It happened that way on Crash of Life too. We were doing a totally different thing, and she said, I got this pre-existing thing, with
Yeah.
the head cracked open, and I was like, that's awesome, man. Let's use that. That's perfect.
And as far as a guitarist perspective, what was the hardest track for you to lay down?
Uh, I don't know that I could name one really. I mean, it's thankfully on my records, it's all my own style and all my own playing. So that in general is obviously comes easier to a guitar player when they get to play like themselves as opposed to covering somebody else's solos or
Right.
riffs.
And a week ago, I spoke with Austin Starr. I wanted to ask you, how did your involvement start with her?
Yeah, Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp. Basically, she played a song that she had for me that is on the album. We redid it and made it a little more rock, Medusa, and I was like, hey, you should just record like 11 songs like this, and try and get yourself a deal and get out there. And turned out she followed through on that, and she's a younger artist, so she's kind of more from the emo. Kind of pop punk scene. She does dig on like the Pretty Reckless and some stuff that's a little bit heavier. So she gave me like she also liked my albums, surprisingly, these Joel Hoekstra's 13 albums. So she was like, I like what you do, so maybe. I thought, well, if I produce this, it's going to have a little bit of a classic rock vibe to it, just because it's like my take on her scene.
Sure.
And so that's kind of what we ended up with. And it's kind of cool, I think, because of that. It has this classic rock uh, theme like running through it, but a take on her generation's music, bit more or less. And so I basically wrote most of the I guess all the guitar riffs and most of the melodies, vocal melodies. And she's a really good lyricist, so it kind of fit perfectly with that. I was like, well, here's the rough idea of the melody that I would hear to this, and then she wrote lyrics, and yeah, that's how the songs came about. But it's a cool record, I think. I like it because it's again very much about the songs. That one in particular, because I just felt like the way we were going about it was, and a lot of what she listens to is not about the guitar shredding or anything like that. So leaned away from that and made it just more about like, I mean, I'm proud of the guitar work on it. I think it's, at times there's some inventive stuff, but a lot of it is just like really solid, like rhythm playing or cool rhythm ideas. So I think it's a cool record. I would hope everybody would check it out, and that's something where I guess people would maybe start to hear a little bit of like the my influence on it from a songwriting style more than anything, but probably hear a bit of the fact that it's me on guitar, just not leaning into the shred thing.
Well, and I think that's one of the great things that you do. I think that's a quality of the best guitarists is that you give a song what it needs and without giving it too much.
Yeah, I think that with that record, it was really important to understand that, and yeah, like a song like "I'm the Enemy," the title track on that it's a really poppy tune, man. So like a shred solo is completely out of place. So quoting the melody, or as simple as it may be, is the right choice as a solo when it comes time for a solo section on that, rather than just me going crazy in that particular key and shredding. I think it would stand out and kind of ruin it in a way. So you try to play what's right for the song. I mean, this is nothing new. It's not a new concept, but a lot of people talk a big game with that and then don't follow through on it. The ego gets in the way and they want to show off or whatever. So yeah, like I said, I think it's a really cool album. It's a lot like the Joel Hoekstra's 13 albums in that they're about the songs and straightforward. I shred more on the Joel Hoekstra's 13 stuff because that's more in the vein of what sounds right with the writing, with the songs, and with the style. But yeah, I mean, I had a great time making a record. I hope people check that out too. And obviously, I want people to check out From the Fade.
And the question I want to know the most is, will we see you tour solo?
I mean, we did do one gig in support of the first one, "Dying to Live" on the Monsters Rock cruise, so it's happened. It's I would never take it off the table. It's like in consideration. It's for me. It's one of those things where I have to look at the things that are gonna keep me doing well financially, like being able to pay the bills and whatnot, and get out and do things that are profitable. And if taking that on tour, quite frankly, for me would not be profitable, but it might be like a good investment in the future to set me up to build it and get out and do more. So it's definitely a thought. It's definitely one of the possibilities for me. If I did it, I'd want to do it big though. And then the tough thing would be how do you get it done? Girish lives in India,
Right.
so the work visa situation, and obviously people also have their own projects and gigs, man. So you gotta figure out like who the lineup would be. Maybe it wouldn't be exactly the same as the records. I don't know, but it's a thought for sure.
And I tell people all the time, you're the busiest guy I know in music. I wanted to ask you, what does 2026 look like for you?
Well, currently it's been a lot of session work, a lot of recording. It's piling up on me as we speak. I mean, I've had like a couple of live shows like out of the gate, like few with the Broadway's Rock of Ages band that I've done, and that there's going to be a lot more of that throughout the year. The acoustic shows I do at Brandon Gibbs, Hoekstra Gibbs, very creative name. But I'll be doing the Monsters of Rock cruise with not only that, but my own set that I do on there, the Hangover Jam, and those same people also have the Mountain Festival later in the year, so be there with that. I'm going to be counseling at a couple rock and roll fantasy camps coming up. One is in Miami, and it's Roger Daltrey and Steve Morse, and so get everybody ready to jam with those guys. And then in LA, it's going to be Tommy Lee and John Five and who am I forgetting here on this? Josh Todd, Buck from Buckcherry, and Reb Beach. So yeah, I got to get everybody ready to jam with my bandmate.
And one of the things I've always thought would be interesting to see is you to be invited on the G3 shows because I think you'd fit right in with that.
I think that that's something. If I was putting out more instrumental stuff, maybe I'd be looking at or getting considered more for. So I guess that's one of those things that hindsight is 2020. Maybe if I was doing instrumental stuff this entire time, maybe I'd be on packages like that. Maybe that would have worked out for me more. I can only speak to where I'm at and what I've done. And so the Joel Hoekstra's 13 thing seemed to make more sense, especially when I was really busy touring with Whitesnake and Trans-Siberian Orchestra and Cher there. There was like 3 years where it was like, man, absolutely nonstop. So it was like getting out on the road with that probably wasn't a realistic thing. And looking at like getting out doing an instrumental tour wasn't really remotely realistic either. So kind of just looked at it like I just want to do what I want to do, and the making of more traditional like rock songs with solo stuff was more appealing.
And getting back to the album, I wanted to ask you, were there tracks that didn't make the album that are waiting in the wings?
There's a bonus track that's not on there. So there were 11 songs. And so people can always hunt that down when that becomes available. Nowadays, that seems to be a little bit easier with the streaming. But yeah, there's one more. But no, this was really the first 11 ideas I had. They all started riff first. That was different than the other albums. The other albums, I would sometimes pull in pre-existing stuff. Some I'd maybe written for somebody else and they didn't use it or whatever, and I go, that could have been cool. Pull it in, especially Dying to Live, the first one, because there was like years and years of stuff that I could go like, hey, that one. And when I made the first one, but this was the first time I was like, I don't even want to go back and listen to anything else. I just let's just go with all new riffs. And I definitely went all riff first this time. Got the guitars in, and then usually when I write the vocal melody, I'll have my guitar in hand too, because sometimes I'll come up with note choices I wouldn't from singing. I'll play around and think about, like, obviously keeping vocal range in mind. Mm-hmm. And that was also different this time than Crash of Life. Girish sang on Crash of Life, but I kind of wrote the vocal melodies at that point for either Russell Allen or Girish, so it could have been either one of them. And then this one, I wrote in a little bit more of his screaming and his real high register, so people can hear that. And the riffs, I think, not by design, but they came out a little bit heavier, I think, because I was just coming off of playing with Accept, and I was playing a little bit more metal at the time. So there's a heavier edge. Like I said, initially, all of it was coming out heavy, and I went like, oh my gosh, I better get some stuff that's a little bit more AOR-ish. Something that's just, that being said, the album is still definitely melodic hard rock. It's not a metal album. There's no Cookie Monster vocals, etc. So people can expect roughly the same vibe. It's just, I'd say it's a little bit of a heavier album than the others.
And the experience of being a part of 50 years of Accept, how did that feel to you?
Oh, great, man. I had a great time with those guys. That worked out perfectly. They needed somebody to fill in for South America and the European festivals, and those are two very appealing legs of a tour, man. South America, they have just the greatest rock fans. They're just so energetic and passionate about it. And so playing headlining shows down there, smaller venues, but packed out. So it was real, it felt real, like in your face. And then obviously the European festivals, those are huge. You're stepping out on a bill where you're with a bunch of other bands. You're playing for 80,000 people or whatever. And so who doesn't want to do that? So,
Sure.
yeah, two really cool legs to be a part of with them. And I had a great time with those guys.
Yeah, my hope with that was that they could get back to the two original guitarists, and it's a shame it didn't get that way. You know what I mean?
The two original guitarists, meaning go back to being a two guitar band.
Yeah.
They are a two guitar band now.
Oh, they are
did
so?
they did move back to that. Just I don't know how long ago, maybe 6 months ago or something like that.
Okay.
They went back to being a two guitar band. Yeah.
And I also wanted to ask you, when you're creating, do you rely on certain styles that you have? Because you're classically trained as well. Do a lot of the classical feel come to you when you're creating?
I would say that I I have total freedom to do what I want on these albums when it comes to the label, which I try to give them their love and their shout outs in these interviews on this cycle, because Frontiers have been super cool. They've never told me what to write on any of these. That's really amazing. I mean, they just, I guess, like what I do. But that being said, obviously, I want to keep it within certain guidelines. So people that are fans of this style of music know what to expect. I don't want to take a left turn on anybody and have everybody go like, "Whoa, what the heck is this? This
Right.
sounds nothing like." For that, maybe I'd start a different project name or something like that. I think if you have a brand, people have to know what to associate with that. If you're going to put Joel Hoekstra's 13 out there as a thing. Now, that being said, there is quite a wide variety. Like if you listen to any of the mellower tracks all the way to the heavier tracks, there's a lot of territory there. Me personally, I can dig on about anything, but my main things that appeal to me are anywhere from metal, where I'd maybe go as heavy as Metallica, or even dabble in listening to Slayer a little bit or something, all the way to pop stuff. So, like melody is always cool. Like I can appreciate a well-written pop song for sure.
Sure.
And then go, man, if that was heavied up, that would be a fantastic song. Have a little bit more energy, fit into the rock world a little bit more. So for me, it's just trying to figure out how to stay between those guidelines. Have stuff have little edges of the metal thing, and so kind of falling dead center on that. My thoughts have always been, especially with Vinny in there. Vinny is not really a proggy drummer, so it's not like something I want to write like a lot of odd meter stuff.
Right.
It's like it lends itself to straight ahead rock, and he's got great ability to still play really, really creative parts that surprise me, and bring the songs to places that I don't expect sometimes, because he's got such a cool style. He's of that generation where players have a definitive style. Like you listen to Vinny and you know it's Vinny.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I love that about him. He brings his style to the albums, and all of these guys do. I mean, Derek Sherinian is obviously capable of really proggy music, having been in Dream Theater and what he's doing with Sons of Apollo, and he's fantastic when it comes to following. If I did write stuff really complex, but again, kind of keeping the personnel in mind and keeping what the project sound is in mind. Like relatable melodic hard rock is basically what I'm looking for. So there can be tinges of metal in there, but even some tinges of pop kind of pulled in and heavied up. Yeah.
And you and I are both big Rush fans. Are you
Yeah.
going to be able to check this tour?
I haven't really even looked into it. It's been so long since I've made a designated move to like attend a full concert, but I obviously wish them well on it. I'm glad they're out doing it.
Yeah, I think one of the most amazing aspects of that band, if you listen to the first five albums and listen to the last five, you can really see the progression. And that's to me is a testament to their not only their talent, but to yours, because I see the progression in your solo work as well.
Oh, that's cool. Well, thank you so much. I mean, I look at them like they're radically different, the two things, but I like that I followed them through their evolution. I liked everything they did, even when it was kind of more synthy and the guitars were playing less of a prominent role or they were more textural, what have you. I think that was always a big part of what made Rush work is that when it comes to part creation or what's the right thing that's going to serve the song, which we kind of were talking about a bit earlier,
Hmm.
is that if somebody's really busy, if something busy is happening, you need to leave room in your part. If
Right,
everybody's busy, then it's just wrenches in a dryer a lot of times. So
right.
if something's really simple, that might give you room to create a busier part, whatever. So this isn't even about writing; it's just about part creation. Like if somebody asks you to play on their track and they've got something mapped out in terms of a chord progression and a melody, another part is that you try and play in the gaps between the melodies, and that might be with a lead fill or it might be with the riff itself. A lot of times you'll hear the movement of the riff happen as a
Right.
response to the vocal, and I think that that's all just part of like understanding years of doing sessions and working on many, many, many songs, coming up with the right parts that will make the song click.
And what always amazed me about them is it to me their formula was absolutely backwards. Neil wrote and said, "Put
Yeah.
music to this," you know.
Well, that's what I liked about Alex is, I think he definitely just inherently left a lot of space for the rhythm section. And that is part of why people respond so well to Neil Peart and Geddy Lee in terms of what they do is that Alex leaves the room for them too.
Right.
It's not just necessarily that they're great players, which they are, but you got to sometimes be with the have that right chemistry of the people that know how to play together. But I think Alex is an amazing guitar player, really, really great. And I love his lead work is very Jimmy Page inspired. I think at the
Yes.
core, who I'm also a huge fan of Jimmy Page is like the ultimate when it comes to writing not just a great riff, but also understanding what the song needs to
Right.
elevate it
Exactly.
in terms of a guitar part, and that's from his session background. Inevitably, having the not just this stuff with Zeppelin, but growing up playing on song after song after song in the studio, understanding how to elevate music, take it to the next level.
And the album's out. What's the best way to get a copy of this album?
I mean, you can go to my website, and then there's the what's still currently listed as the pre-order link, but it's the order link. And then, of course, nowadays everybody's streaming, so it's on all the streaming sites: Apple Music, Spotify. You can listen to it on YouTube if you want to go that route. But physical products, yeah, you can just go to joelhoekstra.com and you click on the link right there on the homepage for it, and you'll see vinyl, CDs. There's merch, hoodie, T-shirt, whatever you want, whatever suits you.
And you've been doing this for a long time. What is the secret to keeping fresh over the years for you?
I just keep doing it. Basically, I mean, there's always some kind of task or agenda for me every single day, musically. So I always say when people talk about being a guitar player, sometimes it's as easy as like the old Nike slogan, "Man, just do it." Right? Like if you play guitar every day and you have some kind of task at hand every day where you're moving forward with it, then you're a guitar player, man. And sometimes you have to ride the wave and see where that takes you. It's not always going to work out exactly like you picture it. And if the tasks run out, man, you can always invent a task. That's the nice thing about the current world we're in with the internet and content creation and things like that, you can always come up with something for yourself to do that's constructive. And that's my best advice to younger players: is just keep doing that and see where it all takes you.
And lastly, I wanted to ask you if you could give a message to your fans, what message would you give them?
To my fans,
Yes.
I mean, thanks for getting me this far in the game. I've been able to do what I set out to do. I guess when I was 11, I never really made the conscious choice to be a pro guitar player. Really, I just kind of loved doing it from the time I was a kid, and kind of, as I said, I tend to drift into these things. There was never a definitive moment where I said I'm going to do this for a living. I just did it for a living. So yeah, I just thank you.
Well, I wanted to take a moment to thank you for creating what I feel is your best effort to date. I love the album from top to bottom, and I'm always looking forward to the next thing from you.
Cool, right on, man. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. That means a lot. People have responded well to the new album, which is cool. I wasn't sure how that was going to go because a lot of it's heavier, and I thought, well, maybe some this is going to turn them off a little bit, and maybe some will like it more. I think overall the energy of it is winning people over. Having the heavier stuff does provide an energy, and it gives people something to grab onto. It's like the band that has too many ballads in the set, right? Or it gets too
Yeah,
slow.
right.
So anyway, people are responding well, and that's cool. But that being said, I definitely record them for creative outlet, and I suppose like overall legacy, like body of work in your career, not just being a guy who's had some cool gigs. Obviously, I've been really lucky in that department with playing with Night Ranger and Whitesnake and Trans-Siberian Orchestra and Cher, etc. That's all great. Most guitar players would be lucky to be able to say one of those. But I also wanted to have my own music out as all that was happening, so that at the end of my career, I can look back and know that I released my own music.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to thank you again for your time. I know you're a very busy man, and it's always a pleasure speaking with you, my friend. Please keep in touch with me.
Right on, buddy. Thank you so much.
You
Appreciate
take
your
care, my
time.
friend. Enjoy your day.
Okay, you too, man. Thank
All
you.
right, cheers.
Okay, bye bye.